Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing a review and demo using the Faber Castell 9000 graphite series, and we are also going to be talking about why it's important to finish your art. So right now I'm going over the supplies. I used Fabriano Artistico Hot Press Extra White 140 pound watercolor paper. It's a small pad, I think it's a 5x7. And of course we also have our pencils. They come in this really nice tin and they're all lined up. The only thing I don't really care for is that they're not really color coded. You'd think that, they would want more color coded so it'd be easier to grab the color you want. Also a kneaded eraser. I'm going to be blending with Q-tips or a blending stump, whichever you prefer. And I also am going to be using a charcoal pencil to get some areas really dark. And I'm going to be using the brush and pencil touch-up texture and titanium white for a couple highlights. I'm also going to be using a Simply Simmons liner brush for that. And I also made a color chart for these pencils so I could easily find the color that I wanted. And this is what we're going to make today. And I know I forgot about this. This is the Tombow Mono Eraser. And this is so cool because it's like a mechanical pencil and it's so small for getting fine details. So let's get on to the tutorial. Okay, so let's jump right into the review here. These pencils were so great to work with. I have a set of their polychromos colored pencils, and these are very similar. The wood casings are great, and these pencils keep their point. They are so sharp, you don't have to waste a lot of time resharpening your pencils and going through them as quickly. So these pencils I feel are gonna last me a very, very long time. Also, another thing that I really loved about these pencils were that they were so smooth. Yeah, so they were super smooth. I had no complaints about these pencils at all. The only thing that I think would make this product a little bit better is if the wood casings were colored similar to the way their polychromos are. It would make life a lot easier and you don't have to make color charts, and it would be wonderful if they would color coat their wood casings. I think that would be great. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about a little bit of what I'm doing, and I had lightly drawn in my line drawing of where I wanted everything to go here, and then now I'm just kind of blocking in lightly where I want my lights and my darks to go. And I'm really going to stress that I am not pushing hard with these pencils at all right now. And that's what I'm doing. I'm just lightly blocking in and leaving the highlighted areas where the highlighted areas are going to stay, and just slowly building up my darks and my lights here. And while I'm doing that, I wanted to talk to you guys about why it's important to finish your art pieces. So I don't know about you guys, but I have creative ADD so bad, and not just with my art. I have probably 15 crochet projects going at this moment in time too. And so I found that a lot of my problem is that it wasn't that I wasn't interested in finishing the piece that I was currently working on. It's my mind never shuts off. So I would get this great idea for my next piece, and I was so afraid that I would lose the idea or forget it. And I was really excited to start on that one that I always abandoned my previous projects. And one of the things that I found has helped me a lot is kind of like a notebook. Like, I write down every idea that I have, and I find a couple of reference photos to go along with that now. And now that I have that backup for that, I don't have a fear of I'm gonna lose that great idea that I had. Yeah, so things have been a lot better since I've been writing down all of my ideas, and I highly suggest that you guys have like some kind of art journal or a board or something that you can write your great ideas on, so you don't have that fear of losing that great idea and you're still excited about working on that when you get done with the project that you're currently working on. Okay, so jumping back in to this tutorial portion of it, I'm still lightly blocking in. I'm still using a very light hand here, but I'm starting to put in more of the areas of where my darks go. Just slowly building up. You want to use a lot of layers with this. You know, it's not a race. I mean, you can push hard if you want to, but it'll ruin the tooth of the paper and then it won't take anymore. And with graphite, when you push really hard, you get that shiny sheen, which is not a horrible thing, but it makes it really hard to photograph your work afterwards. Okay, another reason why it took me so long to finish this piece, I don't know if you guys follow me on Instagram or anything, but I've been posting pictures of this eye for, I want to say, the majority of the summer. And what happened, my daughter had some serious health issues that had to be addressed, and there was absolutely no downtime, and it was just an awful time for us. We've had a very rough summer with the autism, and my daughter has pandas as well. And so a lot of her behaviors were getting in the way of either me or her dad having any free time whatsoever. So this piece actually reminded me of a really rough summer. I just kept walking by it. I didn't want to finish it. I was just so depressed at that time. And I'm really glad that I pushed through and finished this, because I learned a lot of things with this piece. One of the things that I learned is right away, I wished that I had done this on toned gray paper, so I could use a white colored pencil for my highlights instead of the touch-up texture in titanium white, because it would have showed up, I think, a lot better on the toned gray paper along with using the charcoal pencil. Like, I found that I couldn't get this as dark as I wanted. These pencils do go really, really dark. However, I wanted more contrast, so I went out and got a charcoal pencil so I could get these areas really dark. And the third thing that I really learned with this piece is that charcoal doesn't stick to graphite. So if I wanted, an area really dark, I mean, it did, but it didn't. It would have worked better if I laid down the charcoal first for the dark areas instead of, you know what I mean? Graphite's really slick and slippery and charcoal's kind of chalky. So it would have turned out better if I had flip-flopped it and did the charcoal first versus the graphite first. Okay, so back to the tutorial portion. I am lightly blocking in where the eyelashes are gonna go and still working on my dark areas and building up those layers. Another thing that I really learned, if you can see on the left where I kind of had left where I wanted the eyelashes to go, and it made it really hard to kind of work around those areas. And I forgot that because I was using such a light hand, later on you'll see me kind of go over this and then reuse the eraser to pull out where I wanted the eyelashes to go. It ended up being a lot easier that way. And I think that was another reason why I had such a hard time finishing this piece, because I was really debating on how to go about putting these eyelashes in, like those are the really tricky part of eyes, I think, is the eyelashes, because most people just want to put in a bunch of single lines, and that's not really how they are. Some of them are clumped together, some of them are spaced apart, some of them are longer, some of them are shorter, and it's really hard to capture the eyelashes. I think the iris is a little easier to mess with, but you get the point. It's really hard to do eyelashes, and you really just got to pay attention to your reference photo when you're working with something like this. Speaking of reference photos, I did get this one from pixabay.com, so if you want to draw this eye, you can go download their app, their free app, or you can download it on your computer for free and draw this yourself. Another reason why I think it's important to finish the art pieces that you start is mainly because, you know, like I got to experiment a lot on this piece, and I got to find out exactly what worked, what didn't work, which was easier to go about doing things, which way was harder to go about doing things. And these are things that I would have not known if I stopped working on this piece. Like I would have been scared to try to do another eye. Now that I had finished this piece, I think I am more confident about doing another eye study and then taking that and putting that into portraits or, you know, animal photos. Like when you do small studies like this, it does nothing but help you, especially with realism. Okay, so now I am adding in the little veins that go around the eyeball and really trying to get my darks a lot darker. I'm really trying to up my contrast at this point. And you can see I forgot to turn my camera on at some point, but that's when I took the charcoal pencil, and you can see how I was having a little trouble getting it to stick to the graphite. So I did realize that I had to use an eraser to kind of lift it up and then put the charcoal pencil on top of the graphite that way. I really thought I'm really glad I went and got the charcoal pencil. It's not a good quality one. I picked it up at Meyer, but I was there and I was like, yeah, this might be able to help me out in that eye piece I'm working on. And buying the charcoal pencil actually made me want to work on it again, just so I could experiment with charcoal, because I have never worked with charcoal before. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just really adding in my dark areas and really upping my contrast. And I prefer the Q-tips for blending. I didn't think that I would like them, but I really, really like how soft it looks when you use the Q-tip for blending the graphite. I really liked it a lot. So I highly recommend it, and you know, they're in every bathroom in America, I think, or wherever you live. So give them a try if you haven't. I think you'll really enjoy that. Okay, so as you can see, now I'm coming in with the eraser and doing it the smart way, because, you know, you live and you learn, and that's exactly what happens. And if you don't experiment, you're not going to find new techniques that you like, and, you know, things that don't work and things to avoid, and, you know, work smarter, not harder. And these experimentations will further help you when you move on to your next piece. You should be growing with every piece that you do. And if you don't finish one all the way, how are you going to know what you missed learning with that piece? And so here I am, and I'm kind of, once I erased the areas that I wanted to erase, to make the areas that I erased look brighter, you need to add the contrast next to it. So you need to add some shadows and things to make those really pop out. And as you can see, that Tombow mono eraser comes in super handy for small details like this. I really enjoy that eraser. It is, I think I got 2 for like $10 with 6 refills of the little eraser that you shove down the mechanical pencil kind of thing. And that is one of my favorite products. I highly recommend that you get one. They also have one that it's like a square, and you can cut it into an angle, and I found that that's really interesting as well. Now I am using my touch-up texture and titanium white to add the highlights. And like I said, I wish I kind of done this piece on a tone gray paper, so I could have just used a white colored pencil instead of having to mix this and, you know, use a brush. It would have made life easier, and I wouldn't have had to wait for it to dry. But after that does dry, I go ahead and finish up my final touches. Here is the final product. I hope you guys learned as much as I did from this piece and video. And I hope you finish your art pieces. I'm really excited to see how far I get between now and a year from now. I'd like to go back and do like how much better I've gotten since then. So if you like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you want more videos like this. And you can find all my social media links in the video description below, along with all the products that I used. And I will see you guys next week. Bye!